far too insecure. I would be the girl sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting to be asked. And that would take a while. Some of the men I've dated have been pretty risky. Does that count? I don't know if you recall, but I've wanted to move to mountains so much, and the opportunity came up recently to move to.
Okay, so hey everyone, welcome to tonight's episode of Social Commerce Give It Up. Tonight we are super lucky to have Sherry T with us. So Sherry is a podcaster, a public speaker, and she has worked with executive admins for 17 years. She's worked in the field, she knows it really well, and she is a coach to new people coming into that field. So she's going to share, well, hopefully a lot of her story as she answers important questions asked to every guest on Social Commerce Give It Up. So welcome, Sherry.
And thank you so much.
Tonight. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Actually, if I'm keeping it real, Nancy, I told you before, I'm super exhausted today. I'm in the middle of a move, a very unexpected move. So I've been packing all day, but we're going to sneak in a sip or two.
Go for it.
But I'm so happy to be here. Honestly, like, you're one of my favorite people. So I'm so happy to be here tonight. Thank you.
Totally feel the same. So thank you for being here. And just before we get started with questions, where are you off to? So you're right now in Calgary.
I am in Calgary. I have decided to supplement my own business by taking a position in Kamloops. So I will be in charge of the administrative infrastructure for a dog academy, of all things.
Oh, interesting.
A dog academy and a breeder, and helping him run his operations out there. So I am headed for the mountains, and I will be surrounded by puppies and horses, and who could ask for more?
Sounds like paradise. Sounds like paradise. So
it is.
Sounds like I also need to make a road trip after lockdown's officially over and have a little visit.
Totally, yes.
Super fun. Okay, well, are you ready for the questions?
No, but give them to me anyway.
Okay, so question one, you kind of a little bit touched on, but please elaborate. What are you doing professionally and why?
Sure. So I spent 17 years as an executive assistant supporting C-suite executives. And then I transitioned into my own business, which is the ProsperUs Group. And in that business, what I do is I recruit executive assistants, and I also train and coach new executive assistants. So everything admin, that's me.
Oh, that is super cool. And I think that's like a very interesting market because, well, I mean, I don't know a lot about the C-suite executive component of it, but my overall take home is that you kind of like go to school, get hired, and then you're expected to know all the ins and outs. So what kind of things do you train on?
Some of the basics that I train on are just the hard skills, like, calendar management, time management, how to be organized. And then it really progresses up to the softer skills. So for instance, how to become a more strategic partner with your CEO, how to have a seat at the table and really garner that respect, how to have the difficult conversations, not just with your boss, but with your coworkers and some of the other executives in the business. So as the training progresses, it gets more and more towards leadership and management skills.
Wow, I think that is so important. And I'm a big believer of the importance of EQ in the workplace. And that sort of sounds like what you're bringing in on top of the hard skills that the admins need to know.
Yeah.
And I think
very little of what I do, sorry, I'm just turning my fan off. Very little of what I do is actually focused on the hard skills. Because if you ask any executive what he most values in his assistant, he will knock off 10 soft skills to every hard skill that's important to them. So I really train a lot of the soft skills really bringing, figuring out what their natural strengths and weaknesses are, their behavioral and cognitive abilities, and playing up on those to make sure that their careers can progress.
Yes, because I think, well, again, it sounds a little presumptuous, but I feel like a lot of people in high-level leadership are really great at structure, getting stuff done, throwing out orders, but maybe not tapping into the more subtle things that make a working relationship stronger and really create that synergy. Also, my impression, at least from the dealings that I've had with businesses, is that those people, the admins, are basically the face of the company. They're the people who are fielding the people who are the clients, is my impression, if I'm correct.
Oh, 100%. Both with external customers and the internal people that they deal with. And an EA, or an administrative assistant too, has to have the most fluid energy from anyone else in the organization, in my opinion, because they're the ones who have to gel all the different personality types together, who have to react and go with whoever they're interacting with. So it's the EQ that an EA needs, all these acronyms, the EQ that the EA from the CEO needs to.
That's like a wrap.
Oh, that's an idea. But no, their EQ definitely needs to be nurtured and grown and really developed.
Oh, amazing. So that is like so interesting. And I feel like it's an untapped niche market that has so much potential to grow. So what is your personal vision for your business, say in the next like 3 to 5 years? Like, what would you like to see happening?
For my business, I would like to be seen as the #1 training for executive assistants, because the training that I received in my years as an executive assistant really focused around hard skills and, how organized are you? How well can you multitask, and so on and so on. Whereas the psychological aspect of it was really ignored. And that's the element that I want to bring to the profession. And in bringing that in, I want to elevate the perception of what an executive assistant is capable of. That they are a C-suite executive in the administrative field is where they can get to. So I really want to change the paradigm around that and get them to further their careers.
Amazing. So how could people connect with you if you wanted to learn these sorts of skills, or how do you connect with people?
Well, people can reach me by email. It's a good way. So Sherry@ProsperUs Group.com. I do have an Instagram account, which is ProsperUs Group. And my Facebook page is ProsperUs Group. So if you just, on any one of the social platforms, and I'm on LinkedIn as well, just reach out to me. I offer a complimentary consultation to anybody who contacts me, whether it's an executive who needs to improve his or her relationship with their EA, or an EA who is looking to further her career through training or coaching, and so on.
That's amazing. And I love the consistency of your marketing. That's great.
Like to keep it easy to remember.
Even though I love working in a slightly different sector, I do believe that businesses and engagement comes back to energy and likability and connections and relationships. I feel like
100%.
important.
Yes. Everybody that I end up coaching or helping really feels like a genuine friend connection at the end. And they always contact me again and keep me updated on how they're doing, just for no other reason than that we've built that bond. So yes, it's all about relationships.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. So well, good luck with that, and also with your move to BC. So exciting. Lots of cool things coming up for you.
Yeah.
All right. So that was question 1. So the second question is kind of the opposite. What would you never want to do as a job, profession, and why?
Anything that involved being outside in the cold. I cannot stress enough how much I detest being cold. And so when winter hits and I see people out doing, snow removal or something like that. I just cringe. I couldn't imagine doing their jobs. I couldn't. So I do not want to do anything in the cold.
I can totally relate to that. It's not something I had thought about, but for sure, like the skiing and the downhill stuff and the stuff being outdoors, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look so fun to me. And
from a Canadian, come on, like that's weird.
In Calgary, where there's like all the cool stuff around you. So
yeah.
I remember watching this show, and I don't know if you remember it a few years ago or if you ever watched it, but it was like on TLC or something like that called Ice Truckers.
No, I actually don't watch TV, if you can believe it. I watch some Netflix, but that's it. So no, I haven't seen
it. I'm largely Netflix and YouTube myself now, but back then it was like the show about these like truckers on the Arctic ice highways and things like that. So it just looks so crazy to me. So totally get that answer. Okay. So do you like going to libraries or bookstores and being surrounded by real books?
Libraries, no. Bookstores, yes. I have this really weird thing that I always think that the people who use the library books have all had them in the bathroom.
Oh.
I don't like it. I think it's germy. But go to a bookstore where they're new and fresh, and oh my God, I love books. I'm always ordering on Amazon, and unfortunately I have more unread books than read books in my repertoire that I've still got to get through. But I love books. They're very sacred to me.
Well, I think we're on question 4. Okay. So what is the most daring thing that you have ever done?
Oh my God. What is the most daring thing I've ever done? I don't know if I know the answer to that. Some of the men I've dated have been pretty risky, but does that count?
Sure. Maybe like selling off everything and moving to BC is a pretty cool move.
There you go. Actually, the most daring thing I ever done, there's my grammar, it's beautiful. The most daring thing I have ever done, I think, is I left everything about 12 years ago. I left my religion that I grew up with, and my family disowned me. So I think that the walking away was the most daring thing I've ever done.
Oh, wow. So
yes, it's not quite as interesting as, skydiving, but.
That's pretty interesting. Can you share a little bit about that? Are you open to that?
Oh, I am. So yeah, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and 12 years ago, I decided that it wasn't for me anymore, but I knew the consequences. So I left my marriage at the same time. So I left my marriage and the religion, and as a result, my family could no longer talk to me. So I have been away from my family for the last 12 years.
Wow, that is like super courageous. That is, wow.
Thank you.
Not a lot of people would be able to have the courage to make that much of a change. So that's huge. That's huge.
That's where you just close your eyes and jump off the cliff because you don't want to see where you're going. But I feel like I've just brought the energy down. That maybe wasn't the best answer.
That was a great answer. So are you happy with where you've landed?
Oh my God, Nancy, I am so happy. I mean, it has not been easy at all. Like there's been a lot of healing, but you introduced me as a podcaster as well. So the podcast that I do is called When Religion Unravels. And now I've, along with my co-host Bruce, we like to help people who are transitioning out of very restrictive religions, because there's a lot involved. There's a lot of healing to do. There's a lot of healing I've done. And it's quite a trip for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. And you definitely should give yourself so much credit for that and not undermine.
Thank you.
That's like, I think there's so many people who are in a similar situation, whether it's a marriage or a religion or a job or whatever it is. It's not an easy thing to do to make that decision and make that move and go on the leap of faith and give up at all, right? Because you don't know what's on the other side necessarily, but you have to have the hope and the vision and belief it's going to be what really is meant for you.
But you know what it has done for me? It has made me so fearless, which is why I could take this new position in a different province and sell everything of mine and do a completely fresh start. And it's really a blind leap of faith. So things like that don't even faze me. I don't overthink it. I just do it. Take a chance.
That's incredible. And thank you so much for sharing that. That's such a huge example. So
thank you.
Amazing. Okay. So what is something that you wish that you had said yes to? Is there anything?
Oh, yes. What would I have wanted to say yes to? The way that I grew up, secondary education was not promoted because within the confines of that religion, Armageddon was coming anyway, so why would you get educated? So I grew up believing I was very stupid, which surprised me when I actually figured out that I had a brain in my head. And but before I figured out I had a brain in my head, I had an amazing opportunity to move to Saskatchewan and pursue a little bit more of the higher education. But I was so in the mind frame of, Armageddon's coming, and I'm not that smart anyway, that I said no to it. And I think that not getting secondary education after high school was one of my biggest regrets. But, not that I haven't succeeded anyway, but it would have made things a lot easier. So I wish I had said yes to that opportunity.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. And again, like such a powerful share. Thank you. Okay. So what was a pivotal moment that changed everything for you? I mean, you shared a lot of pivots.
Oh, let me see. What changed everything for me? Besides the situation I already described, you know what? This job opportunity came up so out of the blue by such serendipitous events that, I think that one is going to change my life. It is changing my life, and I just don't know how yet. But it was a decision that I took 2 seconds to make. And so let's see how that one changes my life. Stay tuned.
It'd be so interesting because I do remember for the longest time you had put out there that something new was coming in, and here it is.
I did. And I don't know if you recall, but I wanted to move to the mountains so much, and an opportunity came up recently to move to Kelowna. A girlfriend said that, come stay with her for a while till I got on my feet, and it just didn't feel right. It was just several weeks ago, and here I am. I'm moving 2 hours away from where I thought I would be, and to a place that's just as beautiful. So I do feel like I'm bringing in everything that I wanted.
Exactly. It's all about the intention. Totally.
Yes.
That's awesome and inspiring.
Yes.
Okay. What is something that you thought that you would love, but you ended up not liking it at all?
Gosh, this is not a recent example. Is that okay?
Of course.
So I'm going to tell you a story. When I was a little girl, I smelled my parents' coffee all the time, and it smelled like chocolatey, and it smelled so delicious that I spent so much time craving drinking their coffee. And one day I finally just gulped down a cup of it, and it was the most disgusting thing I have ever tasted. And the letdown to a child, it was tragic. Now I love coffee, don't get me wrong, but the child thinks that coffee is something else. Yeah, it's not what I thought it would be.
That's so funny. And I can't imagine the caffeine rush you must have had off of that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
My daughter was asking me, she's 8, can she have a cup of coffee? And I'm like, no.
Well, you know how I finally ended up loving coffee? Speaking of a caffeine rush, I was so determined to love coffee that I made a full pot of it and I just threw so much sugar and cream in there and I drank the whole damn pot and I didn't even dawn on me that caffeine would be an issue. It was buzzing. But I've loved coffee ever since.
Oh, well, there you go. It worked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So are you the first person on the dance floor?
No. I think that I might be now, but back when I was, I loved dancing. And I always wanted to be the first person on the dance floor. Like my feet would be twitching, but I was far too insecure. I would be the girl sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting to be asked.
Wow.
And that would take a while.
Well, I feel that might have changed.
I think so. I think I need to go dancing.
I think so too. Absolutely. Yeah. If you could share only one thing about yourself, what would that be?
I like to think that I really see people. I think that is how I genuinely connect with other people. I have it in me when I talk to people that I really see who they are at their core and I connect with that. And I think that if people knew that about me, it might disarm them and let me in sooner. But I love that about myself.
Yes, and I absolutely agree with you.
Thank you.
I think you have the ability to make people feel very understood and very heard.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
That is a gift. I mean, on both parts, and it's a skill that I think that you probably bring to your business to try to help others embody. So I think that's so important. If everyone can embody just like even a tiny bit of that, right? It's going to make bigger connections.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so what is your favorite word and why, and your least favorite word and why?
I say amazing way too much, so I think it's my favorite word, but I do find everybody and everything amazing. So I love the word amazing. Is that my favorite word? Yeah, anyway, we're just going to say it's my favorite word. My least favorite word is irregardless.
Yeah.
Every time someone says it, I just die a little bit inside. I'm like, no, it's just regardless.
It's kind of like exactly.
It's so judgy of me. Oh my God.
It's the admin in you.
Yeah.
The proofreading.
Pretty much.
I totally get that. Okay, so do you fight fair in an argument?
I like to think I do, but I have been told that I argue like a lawyer and I can, I think I just use logic. I do. I think it's very fair. I use very clear logic and questions, but people tell me that it's not fair, that it's very lawyery. So
No,
I don't really know the answer to that. I think I fight fair.
Logic sounds pretty fair. So that's interesting.
I think they just don't like losing the arguments.
It sounds like you might be able to out-strategize. So that might be the problem.
That could be it.
Okay. So who in history would you either help or stop?
Who would I help? Anne Frank comes to mind. I don't know why that one just popped in my head, but I would want to help her. And I think the other side of that coin is stop Hitler.
Yes, absolutely. So I be interesting to see what would happen in both those instances.
Yes. Well, if I stopped Hitler, I wouldn't need to help Anne Frank, but we won't get too philosophical about that.
That's true, right? The opposite sides of the coin, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a little light and more fun. Less thinking maybe. Sweet or sour candy, chocolate or salty snacks?
Sweet candy. I'm Dutch, so I have a sweet tooth. And okay, as a woman, it totally depends what time of month for the second question. So I reserve the right to choose either one.
Okay.
But if I had to choose, it'd probably be chocolate.
It's a hard choice.
Yes.
Okay, so the last question is, what fictional place do you wish that you could visit?
What place?
What fictional place?
Oh, what fictional? I want to go to Narnia.
Yes. So,
Or Never Neverland. Which one do I want? Maybe Never Neverland sounds more fun. Yeah. Yeah, Never Neverland.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, those are all the questions. Thank you for.
Oh, that was so fun. Thank you.
It's very fun having you on here tonight. So despite our
Thank
little
you.
internet glitch, hopefully it will all I've got a super duper fiber guy, so I'm sure he's going to help me out.
Nice. Good for you.
All right. So thank you so much. And again, just can you reiterate how we can connect with you? Because I'm pretty sure there's
absolutely. So my Facebook page is the ProsperUs Group. If someone wants to get a hold of me directly, Sherry@ProsperUsGroup.com, and maybe I'll put that in the comments once the video posts. And yeah, any of the social media platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, I am the ProsperUs Group.
Okay, awesome. That's pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
All right, so we will have to have you back and have a follow-up after the move and see what's going on in BC.
Yes. All
good luck
right.
with packing up and definitely get there safely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, everybody. So it was such a pleasure tonight.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
With you by my side, I gotta ride or die. We'll be rebels, you and me. Sailing towards the sun like we're shot from guns. Living in